is Gabby doing an amazing job or what, guys? That was so awesome, man. She's so awesome. You know, she's getting better at the fast start, so you know, which is really, really cool. You know, I was gonna come up by myself, and I was like, man, I feel like I was like, Shaq, I feel like they're gonna get a lot more value if, you know, if Gabby comes with me, because when most people think of partnership, they just think of like somebody that's with you. And I was like, you don't understand, bro. My girl really does the business. Like, it was like, oh yeah. I was like, no, you don't understand. She really does the business. Like, she is like borderline. I think she's better than me, you know. And he's like, all right, awesome, man, come. So, you know, I appreciate it, man. But anyways, guys, so I'm really excited to talk to you guys today. You know, yesterday you got to hear a little bit of my personal story. I'll go into it again today. You know, I usually like talking with a headset because I move a lot. I have a ton of injuries, so I'm gonna do my best. If you guys see me drop the microphone, just remind me that I need to pick it up because. Tell me. You know, it's funny when I first started doing big events because I like energy, I talk loud and all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm not gonna use the mic, you know, it'll be a room like this, and then people will be like, hey, can you start using the mic, you know? No matter how loud you are, you can't beat the microphone, right? So anyways, for those of you guys who don't know me, my name's Eduar Fernandez. I'm a senior vice president out of Tampa, Florida. You know, I came to this country on a lottery ticket. So we were actually born in a small town called Campechuela, Cuba. And we grew up in I met one Cuban in the DMV area. Huh? Where's she at? Josh's sister. I thought he was messing with me because he's Puerto Rican. I was like, how's your sister, you know, Cuban? But it's a sister. So the two Cubans here, right? In the whole DMV area, right? But anyways, guys, so I was born in Cuba. And I grew up, and it was super. You know, I was really poor. You know, people talk about being poor, like, you know, I was really poor, right? To put it in perspective, you know, until I was 5 years old, I only had 2 pairs of shoes. So my dad in Cuba was a carpenter, and he was a shoemaker, right? And you know, my mom obviously just took care of me, took care of the house, and you know, and did everything that needed. You know, in places like Cuba, like, you know, here you guys can go we go grocery shopping, and we can buy food for 7 days, 10 days, a month, sometimes even 2 months. Like, that's not how it works in Cuba, you know? In Cuba, you gotta go out daily to find your food, right? Like, there's never enough for 2 or 3 or 5 days. You just buy food for that day, right? So somebody that stays at the house, like, you gotta figure out, right? So, you know, every day my mom had to go out to the water and, you know, wait for the fishermen to come back, you know, and they would, like, literally it would be a group of people like this waiting for the fishermen, and the boats start coming, and everybody mobs the water, right, to try and buy fish, because if you don't buy fish, like, you might not eat, like, any protein that day, right? You might have to eat, like, rice and bread and coffee, like, that's for real, right? Like, you know, many times, my grandfather owned a farm, rest in peace. Unfortunately, he passed away during COVID, but he owned the farm, and in the farm they would make lettuce, tomato, beans, you know. So we were actually fortunate where we at least had like some types of vegetables on a daily basis, you know. So my dad would come from the farm, and he would come and bring some like you know, lechuga, lettuce, right? That's how you call it. You know, lettuce, or come with some tomatoes. My mom would make like some type of rice, and then if we lucky, there would be fish. Like, you guys don't understand, like, we would hunt birds. I'm not even kidding. Like, literally with a slingshot. For real, like, I'm not, this is not exaggerating. Like, I had an uncle, his name is Dingo, right? It's my tío Dingo. I love him. And he was very good with the slingshot, you know? So, you know, any bird, if they were close, you know, you'd go out a little bit, you know, to hunt, you'd get a slingshot, you know? Bird would come down, you take the feathers off, and you make, like, I'm not even making this stuff up, you know? And then they would eat that, and my mom would make that with some yuca, right? And lettuce, and that's the food we had, you know? Like, every single day for lunch, my mom's family used to always tell me that I was gonna get yellow because I loved eggs, right? I loved eggs, right? I love eggs and plantains. Like, even today, I'm a man, I can eat eggs and plantain, like, as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love eggs, you know? So for lunch every day, they would, you know, everybody in Cuba always has chickens in their backyard. You go, you know, chickens lay a lot of eggs, right? So, fun fact, there's more chickens in the world than humans, right? But she would go and get some eggs, she would crack them open, you know, make them, but the challenge was finding grease to fry it. You know, this is like real stuff, you know, like this is stuff I can't get out of my head. So I never complain about like things that I have, like I don't complain about it, right? Because I have those vivid memories. You know, like we would go to the fridge and open up, and there would be water, like for real, and like a dead bird, and like that. I have that vivid memory, you know. Like, you know, it's not like here where you go and you have ice cream. Like if you have ice cream in Cuba, like you're rich. Your dad works with the government, your grandpa works with the government, like, you know, you are rich. Those are the people that are rich in Cuba. Like if your parents in the military or they work for the government, like those are the people that are rich. You know, there's no middle class, there's just rich and poor, and that's it. And the rich is a very small number, right? And I feel like most communist countries are the same, no? Right? Like most of them, you know, and you know, that's why you see, you know, a lot of these guys like from the Philippines, they got such great people over here, like, you know, and even when you don't live that, your parents instill that in you when you grow up, even if you're born in America, right, guys? You're here, I'm sure your dad taught you, you don't understand, back in the Philippines, they used to like, Dad, we're in America, but, you know, you grew up with that, yes or no, right? That's how my like, even, and I came here, I was about 10 years old, my dad, like, till I was like 16, every time, like, you know, you don't understand in Cuba, Dad, I remember. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dude is always like, you don't understand? Back, I was like, bro, I get it, you know? I feel like ending has been, right? You go over anywhere, Venezuela, Ecuador, or anything, you know, and, you know, and I remember those things, you know, and then when you grow up here, you're immigrant, you know, your parents are usually, you know, they're not super well off. They start at the bottom, right? And they always work very, very hard, and they always work either 2 or 3 jobs, right? And they work Monday through Saturday, right? Sometimes even on Sundays, right? And that's the hustle, and that's what you grow up seeing. And it's just a different type of environment. And when I show up here, it's like, you know, like, people ask me, like, how do you work all the time? I'm like, this is not work. Y'all are confused. This is not hard work. Hard work is what my dad did. He digged holes on the ground to lay pipe. That's hard work. This ain't work. You get to have air conditioning, an iPad, dress night. Like, what are you talking about? So this ain't work. My mom waking up at 5 a.m., picking up kids to 7 o'clock, getting a little break, and having the second shift of kids come to my house at 10 o'clock to pick up at 2 because the parents are doing a part-time at dealerships, offices, cleaning bathrooms. You know, that's hard work. Right? Like, people tell me, like, this ain't work. What are you talking about? You know, and I feel like sometimes, like, I don't like really pretty people for the business. I don't mean physically. I mean people that come in too fancy, right? Financial advisors, like, yo, bro, I don't recruit for financial advisors. Like, you know, my team is rough. You know, they're clean, but they're rough. You know, because I don't want super pretty people. Nah, bro, that's not how we do here. Oh, we don't break client. No, we don't do that. Straight up, no, we don't do that. Okay, you still want to hear it out? Yes or no? No? Okay, thank you. You know, guys, like, you got to politely remind people, you know, I do appointments all the time. When I feel bad at Eduar, I say, listen, I just want to be clear, you know, I want you, but I don't need you. You know, I'm looking for people that want to do this, so if that's not you, if you don't feel like you can see yourself doing it, I'm okay with seeing someone else. I just don't want to waste your time or mine. Is that okay? Yes, so, you know, like, guys, I'm telling you, when you guys start walking like you have the prize, you'll see the difference in your business. You know, but anyways, like I was saying, so my dad, you know, my dad was very anti-communist, hated the government. My mom's side, my dad's side hated the government. My mom's side loved the government. Weird, right? Like, these were like just totally opposed. Like, the families hated that they were together, right? Now, they were just kids. Now, my dad really strongly hated the government. My mom is like not into politics. She's like, whatever, you know, so she's like, we're going to America. The other one's like, you're not going to America, you're going to America. And my dad's like, listen, bro, we're going to America. It took me 6 years to win this visa. So basically, my dad, he won this lottery ticket. So every year, if you're in a third world country, you go right to the United States Embassy, and they do a lottery ticket, and they raffle legal immigration. So if they raffle your name, you get a free visa into the United States. Right? Now, you still have to do a medical exam, you still have to provide your background, right? You know, you have to do all that stuff. It's legal immigration. You come into the country, right? It takes some time, but anyways, that's how we got it. So, you know, when we won it, but that's like my whole life. Like, this is what we got. To put it in perspective, the city that I come from, there's about 85,000 people that live there, okay? So in the history of it, maybe 25 have won this. Right, like currently there's 80,000 people. Think of it, for the last, I don't know, 100 years, I don't know, maybe 300,000 or 400,000 people have lived there. Right, if you account for the ones that have passed and gone, and like for less than 25 to win it. Like, we know all of them that did it because it's such a small group. Does that make sense? So I remember the day that I got there, because my aunt was like screaming and she was running with this yellow package. So in Cuba you don't get mail. Like, people don't send things in the mail. That's like, you don't do that because they'll just steal it. Or it will just never make it there, right? So we don't do that. So everybody knows when there's a yellow packet, guess what country it's coming from? United States, right? So the mailman's like, tells my aunt, and it's Cuba, like, if you got mail, and I'm like, that's my sister, they'll be like, okay, here, take it. No ID check or nothing, you know? So my aunt runs into the mailman somewhere in the city, because we live in like a little bit of El Monte, right? Like a little bit in the, like, boondocks, I guess I would say, right? And she's like, they're like, hey, I think, Silverio, that's your brother, right? He's like, yeah, came from the United States. Everybody knows what it is because the United States does it. And when that happens, it's like the batons for the Olympics. Like, you pass by, and she's like, running with a packet, like, it's like 2 miles, right? And everybody's like opening the doors, and they're like, oh my God, another one, like, so they call it el bombo, right? So I guess in English it's like the bombo, that's what it's called. Like, it stands for like raffle. Like, think of, actually, like parlay, that's kind of what it means. Like, you hit the lottery, right? You hit a parlay. So everybody's like thinking like they hit a parlay, but obviously not for betting, but for the immigration, because it's the same concept. Like, millions of people will write, handful will get it. It's very rare. Whoever gets this is a blessing. There's no other word. You don't win it by government influence. You can't buy yourself into it. It's just straight up luck. Millions of people all across the world do it. In every country, right? A couple thousand are chosen per country. A handful per city. This is very, very rare, right? So they win it. Everybody's like, like, oh my God, it's coming. I never forget, we were at my aunt's house. My grandfather was a taxi driver. We were there, and she comes, and she tells me the packet, and then, like, immediately, like, everybody starts crying. If you're in a third world country, you get a visa to America. That's like the best thing that ever happened to you, right, immigrants? Right? You get a legal visa to America. That's like, wow, right? I remember that day vividly, right? And everybody's crying, and I'm like 6 years old. I don't really know what's happening, but I remember the moment because everybody made such a big deal out of it. Like, the neighbors were coming out of the house. Right, and they're coming in, and my dad's crying, and my mom's already crying because she knows, like, I gotta leave my family, right? That's why she's crying. And I remember that, man. And fast forward, we went to Santiago de Cuba, where the airport was at. And I got into that plane, and for 6 years, I didn't see any family. We went back 6 years later, and it does like make me feel some type of way, because like the sacrifice that immigrants make to come to this country, like, it's really special. Like, what's the most, I want you guys to say it independently, what's the most valuable thing that you guys have in this life? Your family. Right? Now, with that being said, thanks, babe. Right? With that being said, money is very important, right? And we will go for the future, but it doesn't negate the fact that you're not going to see grandma and grandpa for 10 years. It doesn't negate the fact that, like, I'm not going to cry because I do my best not to, but you got a little cousin and you see him and you're like this. And you go back. And they're like this. Sometimes you go and grandpa's not there. It's a sacrifice. And if we make those sacrifices and we leave those people behind, we got to come here and do something about it. Right? There's just people, you go back and they won't be there. Or you might, if you're an immigrant, you might hear, I don't know, your grandpa 3 times in your lifetime after you leave the country. How many times saw my grandma? But Not to make everybody sad or anything, but I love my family. And the point I'm trying to make is that all you guys are making sacrifices, and maybe you don't leave a country, and maybe you don't go back into years, but you do leave a house. Right? You leave it every morning, and you come back, and your kids are getting older every single day. You know, your parents are getting older every single day, and your siblings are getting older, and like, why don't you want to do something about it? You know, like, what if you have the money and time to be able to really cherish those moments? You know, money's not the most important thing, but it supports everything that does. Right? If you're a good father, you got money, you'll be a great father. Right? I'm sure he's an incredible dad to you, right? And you know, and it wasn't that he wouldn't be good and great if he didn't have money, but it makes a difference, right? Like, I love my son. I love it. Like, I can't wait till we can tour and teach him about history, like actually traveling through Italy, right? Or through Mexico, like actually doing that. You know, and it wasn't that us not having money makes me a worse father, but man, like when you do have money, it'll highlight your good attributes. Right? Like, you know, Gabby's dad, he's super incredible, you know, and like oftentimes, you know, very random, like I'll send him $1,000, $1,500, right? Like randomly, you know, every month without fail. You know, and that like really fulfills me, you know, because he works super hard, you know, and I just feel like isn't that like why, like, everything, like my family is like the most important thing I have. Right? Like I could lose it all, and I'd be okay with it. If I have my family, because I know anything that I could do once, I could do again. Right? So guys, like I'm telling you, man, like this company is super special. You know, fast forward, obviously got here, parents worked super hard. I was 19 years old, I started this company. You know, and by the time I was 26, I'd already been paid over $1 million with this company. I started at 19. And my mom let me borrow $99, and by the time I was 26, I had been paid over $1 million. I'm not saying that, like, there's people who are doing bigger and better things. I'm just showing you my story, right? I know there's a lot of things going on, but man, in this company, I did it, like, you know, by myself. Nope, like my mom and dad weren't doing the business. I don't come from money. Like this was really hard to do. You know, but I like it that way because easy come, easy go, right? So I'm okay with it, things that take longer time, right? And then we got with Gabby, you know, in less than 2 years, we made another $1 million, right? In less than 2 years. From the day that I met her to present day, we've been paid right at about $1 million, right? Like it's crazy, and then obviously it comes much faster now because income at 60,000, then it's much faster to generate $1 million, right? It took me 6 years to make my first $1 million, 3.5 years to make the second one, right? And now it's coming so much faster, right? And I heard Brian Tracy say that in a speech one time, and I was like, I don't know, dude, like, you know, and I'm sure Christian will tell you, like, how long did it take you to make your first $1 million, Christian? Long time, right? And the second one probably came in half the time. And the third one, and then now it's like, what is it? Like, obviously you'll take $1 million, but it doesn't change your life. Right? Like, that's the type of company that you guys are playing at, right? You guys get a chance to hear, you have an opportunity to make millions and millions of dollars. Right? Like, look, this is not a place that you come, we don't, you know, the company does teach, but meaning like our PowerPoints are not how to be a better father, how to be a better husband, but all those things happen as a byproduct for what we do here. You know, like this company is extremely special. This is the only thing, to my knowledge, where it's such community. America is a mafia. I can land in any state, in the United States right now, and God knows this, it happens so many times. I call somebody up, boom, and they'd be at the airport. I mean, if you don't call that a mafia, I don't know what is. Right? And you know the crazy part, like everybody that makes it in America is a little hood. Like most people that make it big here don't come from like fancy degrees or nothing. They all like from the hood, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure Christian, he's a server, bro. He gets down. He's a server, right? He's not a doctorate degree, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's cool, like that's the culture of the company. You got people that come from nothing that do something, right? Give up everything and accomplish something great. Ain't that special? That's what you guys can do in this company, man. You know, and it's just so incredible, guys, because this company delivers. And again, we're going really, really hard to make them out. And I realize, you know, for the longest, I'd be like, man, how come nobody's made $1 million after 30? Guys, when you start making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, and you like 25, 26, you know, you start doing a lot of amazing things. You start being able to travel first class, you know, like, I remember 10 grand a week is pretty good money. Right? So it's not that, like, the opportunity's not out there, is that it gets easier, you know? Life gets easier. You're like, man, that's why I tell you guys, like, just give it everything you got the first time, because once you let up, it's going to be harder to get back into that rhythm, because you don't have to. Right? It's not the same. It's not the same hustle, guys, in the Audi R8 than it was in my fucked up Toyota Camry. It's not the same. If I get home or not, my bills are still paid. When I was 21 years old, if I didn't do the life app, I wasn't going to be able to put gas in my car. Right? That hustle that you guys have now, I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. That first hustle, when you're broke, when you're going, you're regional leader, new RVP, you're going for something great. Just don't let up. Just keep going an extra 2 to 3 years. Right? Like, for every year that you work your butt off, you get another 5 years of total financial independence. What happens to a lot of RVPs, they start making a little money and they let up. And sure, you make good money, you're stuck at like 250, 190, right? That's a great lifestyle. And 20 to 30 years go by doing that. Because it's good. Your bills are paid, your life, you know, you have savings, you have a couple IRAs, you might have a couple $100,000, you've been here long enough, maybe a couple $1 million because we teach the right things, right? And it's harder to get it going, right? You can still get it going, but meaning, guys, like that first hustle, man, there's nothing like that first hustle. Right? Guys, I'm telling you, it's more important where you're going than where you're at. 100%, right? People want to work with somebody heading in the right direction, right? Versus somebody that's parked where they want to be. I'm telling you, there's more excitement in it, guys. You know, and if you could be a leader and you can make a ton of money and you can still be on the field working hard, showing them like, you know, look, if you want to be great here, you don't have to pretend to be somebody you're not. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay if you're a funny guy, make jokes. Right? If you're an active guy, play sports. Like, if you're a family guy, hang out with your family. You know, if you cry. Like, I'm a human being. You know, before I used to have this image that I was like, oh, I had to do this. No, that's not true. People want to see authenticity. Right? Be authentic. Be yourself. You know, you don't got to be anyone you're not. You could be yourself and still win here. You know, if you like to dress super fly, continue to dress super fly. You know, if you're a sports guy, build your business like a sport. Like, you know, Art did it. Art was a high school football coach, right? Like, that was his swag, and that worked for Art. Maybe you a smooth guy. You know, some of my friends, like, you know, I have a buddy, Art Martinez. You guys probably know him for sure, right? Art, he's so smooth. That works for him. Right? I got my other mentor, Mario. Man, that dude's a firecracker. He's about getting people excited. That works for him. I got Miguel. Dude, as tough as this table. You can't crack a smile or get upset or shed a tear. Like, it's like whatever you are, like that works for you. And with the battle that I used to fight for a long time, I try to be like this guy, I try to be like that one. That doesn't work. The best thing that you can be is be yourself, because there's never been somebody like you, and there'll never be someone like you. You know, and seriously, and I know that sounds kind of cliche, guys, but that works, man. You know, I get to come up twice, man, and I wish I had a headset. This is going to be kind of difficult to do away with. But look, you know, I want to make sure that you guys learn something, right? Not just remember the moment. You know, obviously, I want you to remember the moment. Hopefully, there's something that, you know, we have said, either Gabriela or myself, that has really impacted you here in some shape, way, or form. But, you know, I want to teach you guys something, you know? I believe, like, I do know, like, right now we are at 500,000, but I do have the confidence to say, like, we will get over 1 million. We will get over 1.2, 1.3, because the work ethic that I have right now, if you guys followed us around with a camera, you would be so impressed by the amount of effort we put into this business. So I'm very confident. There's some people that might out-earn me, and that's okay, but if you come and see me, what I'm doing on a daily basis, not for long. Because we do and then you know what? We don't go wrong by our people. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, you know? If I make a commitment, I say, hey, I'm going to be responsible for this, I'm going to be responsible for that. You know, many times RVPs, you guys set expectations, you set goals, you set, you know, incentives, and then you don't deliver after you get the production, right? If we tell somebody, hey, if you do you know, every time you do a sale, you do 1,000, I'm going to pay you $200. When they hit 3 sales and they get appointed, you better send them $600. Right? And they're not going to ask because nobody wants to have that uncomfortable conversation, but they know. Right? Like if you have an incentive, you do 10 by 10, you get a watch. You better get them to watch the day that they go over 10 by 10 because it might not mean a lot for you. But that person downloaded the watch on the Apple Watch, right? On Google. They put it on their iPad, they put it in their store. And maybe they've never had an Apple Watch and they banked on you do it and then they do a production and you don't do it. That's wrong. Right? You have to deliver on what you say you're going to do. Right? And guys, look, so I get to talk to you one more time. So what I want to go over roughly is the orientation. I believe one of the most important parts of Primerica is the orientation. I strongly believe that. The orientation is so important. Most people do a pathetic orientation. Because what happens is, and this, think of it logically. We run around to work on getting these recruits, right? For those, some of us are more talented than others, it come in faster than others, but some of us it doesn't, right? We go around and we follow up with Christian, and we say, Christian, and then he comes in, and then you tell him, all right, man, set an appointment, see you later. And then you're back to the struggle. When you mature, you realize that your people, when you get them in, they have to schedule appointments. That's what you realize. Like if I recruit somebody, they're not leaving orientation without scheduling appointments. Or I wasted their time, my time. When I start orientation, I say, listen, I just want to let you know, if we don't schedule at least 4 appointments today, we wasted your time and mine. Here's another caveat. This is a good tip for you guys, okay? When we're recruiting people, we tell them they're going to set appointments with their friends and family. Some people have the problem in Primerica, they paint Primerica something that it's not. You paint it like this corporate job and you wonder why it's so hard to set appointments at orientation. Because then they get to orientation and they're like, all right, man, I'm ready. Where's the people? Oh, no, you got to set an appointment. But that's your fault because you painted the picture like they were going to get. I used to do that too when I started. You got to tell them in orientation. I said, look, I'm doing a presentation. I said, look, you can make this amount part-time. And I always say this, the way that I did it, the first people I talked to was my mom, my dad, my cousins, right? Friends and family, and what happened is they refer me to other people, that refer me to other people, that refer me to people, and that's how I built the business, right? That's how today we have over 30,000 clients, over almost 600 reps. That's how we did it. That's the way that I started. That's the same way that you would start as well, Christian. You would set appointments with the people you know, but don't worry about it. I will do it. You just set the appointment. We work together. With your credibility and my ability, that's how we have success together. Does that make sense? And I say that at the interview. So when I get to orientation, I'm not pulling teeth about setting appointments. Sometimes the company has a culture of selling Primerica for what it's not. The company is good enough as it is. Right? And then when I do that, it's easy to set appointments at orientation. Because they already know, hey, yeah, I'm going to send my mom, my dad, my wife, you understand what I'm saying? So that's the problem. A lot of you guys are putting yourself in a hole. You wonder why you can't get compound recruiting going. Because you're painting a picture of something that Primerica is not. If you're up front from the beginning, it's a filtering system. And you know what I've noticed? That if I tell them that, I still recruit about the same amount of people. You know what it does do? It takes the 2 or 3 that are going to be hassles and headaches, and they wash off at the before I get the IBA. Right? Before, I used to close people on my IBAs. Oh, why would he press the day? I don't do that. I show them the business. This is what we do. Can you see yourself doing something like this? They say no. Say, God bless you. Thank you so much for meeting with me. Right? I have somebody came into my business, right? And they're like, mind blown. That's how we did it. I say, that's how you do it. I said, yeah. Say you recruit 100 people a month in a big shop. So if they say, I got to think about it, awesome, man. What are you going to think about? Oh, okay. All right, man. Thank you. I'm not going to sit there and go back and forth with somebody. I'll answer some questions. If you have some genuine questions, man, I just don't know if I can fit it in my schedule. Is that your only concern? Yeah, absolutely, brother. Don't worry. I'll work around your schedule. When you start here, I work for you. Right? When are you available? Give me time. That's the numbers we'll start. So if I can work around your schedule to do it, yeah, okay, I'll do that. But I'm not doing idle. I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk to people. Awesome, man. It was different times back then from those audios. Present day, there's 1,000,001 things, guys. They go on their phone. There's already a bunch of other things to provide. Hey, you want to do it? Yes or no? No? Okay, great, cool. Get to it. Right? And I'm telling you, last month we recruited 103 people in our base shop. I think I know something. You guys don't got to clap for that. We expect that. Right? We expect that. And I want you guys to know, even when you start doing numbers, you eventually also become average. Right? Seriously, right? 100 recruits a month, that's so awesome. When you do it all the time, it's just average. It's not a, it's also another problem with the company. Everybody gets kumbaya for doing what they're supposed to do. My praise, when I tell my people, good job, dude, they're on fire because I'm not going to say good job for passing, your chapter unit exam. For recruiting a person, we don't throw a party. I had my RVPs, right? He just got his ring. Awesome, brother. Let's go. When you get your second one? You need people like that, right? I told him, like, we're about to hit 6 diamond. I don't want to party. I don't want a celebration. That's what we're supposed to do. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, either one by one. It's a party. Why? Seriously, hey, good job, man. I'm proud of you. It's cool. I'm not saying that's bad, but let's go. Let's get it to 3x3. 3x3. Okay, awesome, champ. Let's go. Right? Guys, my mentor, Miguel, he doesn't even celebrate the points anymore. The point 1, point 2, it doesn't celebrate it. He only celebrates now the million jumps. Alright, just hit 3.7, you won't see it anywhere. Won't even post it on social media. It goes on the chat, Miguel is 3.7 million, alright, great job. But he says, I do that so when my guys hit 2, 3, 4, 5, they don't think it's a super party. I'm telling you, some people, you're just a big fish in a small pond. Right? You hit 100,000, like, oh my God, guys, 100,000, not that much money. You go and work a job, make 100,000, great. You start separating yourself, you start making 400,000 or 500,000. Then it starts getting a little different. And then once you start hitting 6, 7, 8, 9, then those are a little bit more special. But your first 1, 2, 3 is like, okay, great. I mean, obviously we get ownership here, that's amazing. I'm not saying don't celebrate it, guys, but don't treat it like it's the ruby ring, man. Don't treat district leader promotions like they got promoted to regional vice president. You know what I'm talking about? It's wrong, guys. It's wrong. And then what happens is the moment that you're not there to cheer them on and say, "Oh my God, they're done," right? So we talk about this. We recruit into our LLC. We don't recruit into Primerica. We recruit into Legacy Financial, being super truthworthy, right? So when I sit down, I said, look, so here's this is what's on our T-shirts. This is what's on the back of the phone case, right? Because on our company, every single Primerica office is independently owned. So you might go to one, have a totally different experience than you have with me. So our team is Legacy Financial. We're part of a much bigger company, Primerica. Obviously, they already covered that in the interview, right? But I'm just reiterating so you guys know how to explain it. So when I'm on the street and I'm prospecting, people are like, what company are you with? I'm at Legacy Financial. That is a registered LLC. I do own it. We have ownership. That is not a lie. You guys should all market your uplines team. If your team base shop is the Tornadoes, what? Tornadoes Financial Marketing. Okay, whatever. Okay, that's the name of the company. You'll eliminate a lot of objections doing that way. A lot. Okay? So anyways, guys, we have Gabby and I, we have it on our presentation up front. All our team, they do that, and then our phone number's on it, because sometimes you might have some people doing orientations that are not the most adequate, so you can save that. If they just save their number and they add you on Instagram, that helps us a lot, okay? So we go over the times that we expect them to do on Zoom, right? The apps that they gotta download, okay? And we schedule their fingerprints right then and there. Because when you schedule fingerprints, you legitimize the process. So if you have a person that's random, maybe they're not good at it, you schedule the fingerprints for the next day right then and there. They're doubted Primerica's a real company. Next day, they got to go to a fingerprint place. It might be a UPS, might be a police station, might be a library. What company with Primerica, they get fingerprinted. It legitimizes the process. Right? And it also speeds up their licensing process. Some people wait to get passed, and then they start getting their fingerprints. Why are you doing that? That person might take a month to get appointed. Do the fingerprints before, right? If your state allows it. Some states don't have it, right? So I tell them, I said, if you guys are recording, it's probably the time to do it, right? So I say, look, so let's say that I'm doing orientation for Christian. I say, awesome, Christian. Christian, so the first thing so you need 4 key components to become, 4 key components to build a business for. The first place that you need a location. So thankfully, ours, we get to use this. If I'm on Zoom, I said, right, thankfully, we get to use Zoom. Okay? Now we do have an office. We want you coming here. Because I recruit local via Zoom, right? If I recruit another city just by themselves, I feel like I'm wasting my time. Now if I recruit leaders in other cities, I'm okay because I'm willing to fly and go over there. Does that make sense? Okay. So I say, awesome, Christian, so you have the office here. Okay, we want you to come here in person. Okay, obviously we're going to use Zoom. We're going to do sales through Zoom. We're going to do recruits through Zoom and things like that. But we are going to be predominantly, from the meetings, we got to do them in person. Okay, so we want to take care of this office. Okay. Number 2, Christian, if you want to win here, you need a team. Okay, the way that you get wealthy here, okay, is by overrides. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to recruit some people. Okay, before I used to hone on this 100%. Guys, they're going to get it or not. You should explain this stuff in the interview, and you erase a lot of hard times. Okay, so it's out, Christian. So I'm going to help you recruit some people, man. Okay. Number 3, we need clients, Christian. You ever seen a business that runs without clients? Heck no, right? We need clients, bro. We need clients to pay our bills, pay the lights, right? Electricity, keep the water on. Those are super important. Okay. And number 4, man, we want to get licensed in the next 2 to 3 weeks. That's going to be our goal. Okay. Now, if you ask me which of these are important, they're all important. They're all important, Christian, okay? So, Christian, let's say we sit down with somebody and they do an $84 app. 84 times 12 is equal to 1,000, okay? So if you're at a 25% contract, you make 25% of what someone pays their first year. 25% of 1,000 is 250. 50% of 1,000 is 500. 70% is 700, and 110% is 1,100. My job is to get you from 25 to 50% in the next 7 to 10 days, or faster, okay? Now, Christian, out of these contract levels, which one would you rather be? And he'll say, 110. I was like, hey, look, dude, guess what? Everybody wants to be there, but even I started right here. So my job, before you could run, we gotta get you to crawl, okay? So we're gonna get you to that 50%. Okay, now you got 2 jobs when you start here, Christian. Job number 1 is to set appointments. Okay, I'm over my time. You want me to finish that? Keep going? You want me to get off? No? Okay. Okay, so we got 2 jobs here, okay? Job number 1 is to set appointments, okay? So Christian, if we do this meeting, right, we're already doing, we're already like 20 minutes in. Bro, if we do this and we don't set appointments, we wasted your time and mine. You don't want to waste your time, right? Okay, awesome. So we're going to make sure we set some appointments, okay? So again, we want to set appointments and we want to get you licensed. Those are your 2 main jobs, Christian, okay? Those are the 2 main things that we're going to focus on, okay? Now, brother, look, our first appointment, Christian, has to be within the next 24 hours. We have to see somebody in the next 24 hours, okay? Now, the ideal person that we want to see, Christian, is somebody with a heartbeat, right? That's over 18 and below 70, but if we have to be a little bit more specific, we want to see people that are either married with kids or single with kids. Right? Those are the 2 main things, okay? Now, brother, if you want to win here, you just got to do 2 things. Number 1, you got to be coachable. Number 2, you got to communicate. These are the 2 things that we got to do, Christian, okay? As long as you're coachable, you communicate with me, Christian, this is going to work, okay? This is like a game of chess, okay? I make a move, guess what? You make a move. I make a move, Christian, I will follow up with you 3 times. If by the 3rd time you don't respond to me, I'm never going to call you again. Not because I hate you, not because you're a bad guy, but because I'm a really, really busy guy. And I set the tone. Some of you guys call your trainee 5, 7 times before they answer. Who do they think they are? Obama? Like, Trump? Like, stop playing with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I called you once. I'm making $500,000 a year. How many people you got calling you to make $500,000 a year? When I started the business, bro, I had a manager call me. That was like incredible, right? When my upline called me, it's like, oh my, you know what I'm saying? So I literally told them, I said, brother, look, I want you, but I don't need you. So again, this is like chess, right? I make a move, you make a move, I make a move. If I feel like I'm calling you and I'm texting you and you're not responding, by the 3rd time, I'm not going to keep going. And I want to let you know, Christian, if you ever don't want to do this, I don't want you to be embarrassed about it, okay? It's no problem. You're not going to hurt my feelings, and you're not going to hurt anyone's feelings, okay? Do we have a deal on that? Okay, great. I say that at the orientation. Right? And once you guys start recruiting some people can feel that as genuine, right? You don't want to do it in an arrogant way. You want to do it in like a cool way just to establish. Sometimes I see leaders begging people for a bus. That's so wrong, guys. I tell my team, don't be a prostitute, right? Like, you're selling yourself. Like, bro, just be normal. Be cool. Like, be a cool guy. Or cool girl, right? So again, right, be coachable and communicate. Guys, remember, I'm on the stage, right? There's things that I will say up here that I won't say in person. Don't say be rude, don't be vulgar, right? Like, you get what I'm saying? Obviously, you guys knew I was coming, you bought tickets, you came here, like, I can talk to you guys different. I'm not going to tell a new guy, like, don't be a prostitute. I'm telling you guys. You get what I'm saying? Right? But anyway, so I tell people, really, like, I tell people, like, all the things I said, but not the prostitute part, okay? So anyway, so you got to be coachable and communicate if you want to win here. Does that make sense? Right? And look, and if you got somebody that you feel like is solid, you'll sell them the vision a little bit. Like, man, I think, like, there's some people you recruit that you know that if they get busy, they can be amazing at the business. Those people are like, say, brother, listen, you want to get serious about this, bro? I can teach you to get to where I'm at in half the time. Right? I mean, I got a guy starting me less than 2 years from IBA to be here, already got his ring, not even old enough to buy a beer, but is old enough to buy the bar. Right? 20 years old, man, still gets ID, already making 6 figures. I could show you how to do that, but the most impressive part is within 2 years. Focus more on time frames than you do on age, because if you do on age, then you're limiting your market. Then you have somebody might start, they're 40, they're super sharp. They might not think they can win because you keep talking about 20-year-olds. Talk about time frames. It's more powerful. In the next 2 years, within 3 years, within 5 years, within 10 years. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect, right? Coachable and communicate, okay? So look, right now, Christian, you're here at this 25% contract. My job is to get you from 25% to 50% in the next 7 to 10 days. Okay? Does that make sense? And usually they'll say like, do I do that, right? So I say, great. So I say, so our job is to get you incentive. Does that make sense? Yes. And then I say, let me reiterate myself, okay? There's 4 contract levels. There's a 25%, 50%, 70%, and 110% contract. The average life insurance policy we do, Christian, costs about $1,000 a year. If you're at a 25% contract, you make 25% of what someone pays you first year. 25% of 1,000 is. And if they answer, I know that's more of a sharper individual. But remember, you ask a question, in orientation, things like that, and they don't answer in 2 seconds, you say it for them. So 25% of 1,000 is 250. Does that make sense? If you had a 50% contract, if somebody says, I'm not good at math, I'm like, bro, it's half. Right? Like, might be a red flag, you know? So 50% of 1,000 guys, 500. 70% is 700, and 110% is 1,100. I already covered that, but I'm reiterating it. So my job is to get you from a 25% to a 50% in the next 7 to 10 days. Okay? So you're here, Christian. Our goal is to do 3 by 3,000. We want to recruit 3 people, and we want to sell 3 policies in your first 40 days. That's going to get you, number 1, that's going to get you a bonus. Okay? Number 2, that's going to finish your training. Okay? Does that make sense? And number 3 is going to get you promoted to a 50% contract. Okay? Now, when you do 3 by 3, your team's going to be looking at you, Christian, and they'll be like, yeah, I know Eduar makes money, but whoever the trainer is, you just say your name. Yeah, I know my trainer does good, right? I know Jason, Kevin, this one, Dora, Jessica, that's good. But what about you? See, if you do what you're supposed to do, they're going to smile and they're going to get to work. Because if you do 3 by 3, what do you think your team's going to do, Kevin? What do you think your team's going to do, Christian? 3 by 3, right? Perfect. Well, guess what, man? So guess what? Now you're licensed because you're trained. You finished the training compensation. Guess what? You made a sell here, sell here, sell here. Dude, you just made $1,500. You made a sell here, sell here, sell here. You made another $1,500. Okay? Doing it that way, you made $3,000 because these people quit. You know why? Because there's people that are going to quit. That's just people quit marriages. They quit. They buy plane tickets and don't show up. They say that they're going to weddings and they don't go, even though it's expensive for the people hosting it, right? It's just the way it is. It's just the way people are, right? But doing it that way, you still made $3,000. How do we double that? How do we triple that? How do we more? I heard there's a regional in here that's like over 200,000. Imagine, say, look, I'm a regional. Imagine when I'm a vice president. It's going to be crazy, right? But whatever you're at, right? Whatever your income level is looking, that's part-time. So what happens if you can double it and triple it and quadruple it? That's how you do our business. Does that make sense? Now, if somebody's in the market, this is where I go into my close at orientation. Pay close attention. So now, Christian, so what we have to do is 3 by 3,000. Does that make sense? So let's say Christian's in the market. The market for me is either married with kids, single with kids, or 25 or older and has a career, not a part-time job at McDonald's, right? There's maybe a manager at McDonald's. He's getting a life after he's over 25 years old, right? I say, awesome, Christian. So our goal is to do 3 by 3. Does that make sense? Awesome, Christian. So again, but here's the cool part. Of that 3 by 3, right, yours will count as well. Christian, do you have life insurance now? No? Okay, perfect. That's 1 right there. So really, we don't have to do 3 by 3. We just have to do 3 by 2. Does that make sense? Now, Christian, there's 3 reasons why you want to be your own first client first, right? Number 1, very important, is for the training, right? Imagine working at the Mercedes dealership, but owning a Cadillac. Right? Like, when you go through this, Christian, you're going to be able to learn how to do it. You're going to figure out if you need to do blood work, if you didn't do blood work, if you had to provide medical records, what the price costs, what the coverage, what the benefits, right? Like, you want to own your product, right? The second reason that you want to do it, Christian, is because it's going to count towards your promotion. Okay? So for this sale, you're going to get credit about $200 if you recruit another person. Okay? And then the third reason, Christian, which is the biggest reason that you should do it, is because you, and then I say this, you need it. Right? So let's say he has kids. So Christian, you have kids now, right? Have you ever thought about what would happen to them? God forbid something happened to you? You have? I mean, is that important to you? Yeah, so right now you have no life insurance. So if you pass away right now, how do their life look like? Horrible. Would you like that for them? No, so that's why we need to do it. Let me show you how life works, okay? But Christian, what we'll do is we'll make sure it's in a good budget for you, because the only way that this works is if you keep it long term. Okay? So let me show you how the life works. From the moment you're born, okay, this is my close every time. From the moment you're born to age 30, our health is on the way up. From 30 to 40, it stays the same. And naturally, the way God made our bodies, after 40 years old, our health starts to deteriorate. So the price of life insurance is based on 2 things, Christian. Number 1 is age. Are you ever going to be any younger than you are right now? So when would be the best time to get it? Right now, right? And number 2, it's your health. Okay? It's your health. So, as time goes by, usually we're not as healthy anymore. So you might not be able to qualify for it. Does that make sense? And the best part about our life insurance, Christian, it's actually not just when you die, it's while you're alive. So when I started in this company, I was doing the same thing as you. The first appointment I set up was with my mom and dad, Christian. My dad hated life insurance. It didn't exist in Cuba. He said, I'm not getting it, I'm not getting it, I'm not getting it. Finally, he said, you know what, I'm going to get it because I know you won't shut up if I don't get it. So he bought a $92 a month life insurance policy for $250. See, 9 years later, my dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he had a neurotumor come out of his pancreas. That same policy he didn't want paid our family $315,000 cash to do whatever we want. You know what, Christian? It didn't make the cancer go away. It didn't change his health in any way. But you know what it did? It gave peace. Christian, I can't tell you how many people, I take my father to chemo. After chemo, guess where they have to head? To work. You think it's easier to beat a cancer or any time of terminal illness when you have the stress and pressures of paying all your bills and taking care of the finances? Heck no. So again, this wouldn't make it go away, but it'll make things a little better. Does that make sense? So Christian, again, this only makes sense if it works long term. So Christian, can you see yourself why you need something like this? Great. Christian, most people, if it's just one person, I close with this, can set aside about $80 to $100 a month for doing something like this. Okay? Some can do a little less, and some can do $100 to $150 or more a month, okay? Now, out of these three, which one best fits you, Christian? 80? Okay. So, forget that you're not in Primerica, right? Imagine you never ran into us. Would you be able to pay $80 to $100 a month, no problem, for life insurance?
Yes.
Yeah, no problem?
No problem.
Okay. So, Christian, so what we'll do is, I'll give you some quotes now for that, okay? We'll start down, that'll be your first one, and then we'll work on your second and third, right? And then a couple quotes, and I don't show them how to do it because that just drags on the presentation. I say, awesome, bro. So option number one, I want to do as much power term as I can, right? So I'll do let's say, I'll say, you guys will do the income multiplier. All right, I'll do it, but it's just time is running out. So that's all. So Christian, God first, something happens to you. How much do your family need on a monthly basis to live a great life? $3,000 a month. So 3,000 multiplies times 12, because that's how many months are in a year, right? That's 36,000. So in a period of 10 years, bro, we're talking about 360,000. That's the coverage that you would need over the top. So I give them two options. Say, look, option number one, Christian, you can get 750,000, right? That came out to $127.87. Option number two, you could do 300,000 for $89.27. And option number three, you could do $200,000 for $84.52. This one's 89. So I use letters, actually, not 1, 2, or 3. I use letters. So Christian, out of A, B, or C, which one do you want? A? Okay, awesome. Sure. So Christian, why don't you do this? Because you never had life insurance, why don't we just start with this one, and once it gets issued, maybe we can increase it later. Is that okay with you? I think that'd be better for you. If I can avoid doing blood work, I will. A lot for QBI. I really would. I would take a $30 less dollar an app to make the back end process later, right? Because you might, things could happen, right? But if it's a responsible client and a responsible person, I also do a lot of precision term. But my clients keep the precision term. A lot of people in your base shops clients don't keep the precision term. And that's the problem, right? So if you're responsible, fill it out, right? So I say, okay, great, awesome. So I'll finish the app, right? I go, okay, awesome, Christian, I'm sure how to do it. I say, awesome, Christian, so now you don't got to do 3x3 anymore, brother. All we got to do is we just got to do 3x2. Christian, does your wife have life insurance? No? Okay, perfect. That's the second one, okay? So the way that you set up appointments, Christian, right? Look, bro, when I called my mom, I said, Mom, listen, I need to sell a policy. You need to keep it for at least a year. You don't have awesome. You need to do it. And she said, okay, I hear it out. I brought the guy over, boom, that was my first sale. I called my auntie, says, look, I don't know, I'm not really interested. I said, auntie, just listen to a presentation, just be about life insurance, be investments, just hear it out. When can you do it? Tomorrow, next week? She was like, okay, tomorrow I'll do it, no problem, boom. Tomorrow, I called my dad's friend, he said, oh yeah, I already have a policy. I say, awesome, uncle, just have your policies, because part of my training is for my trainers to review. And I brought my trainer, boom, and that's how we did our first three. Right? And then for recruiting, Christian, we just want you to say the same thing. Look, I want you to tell your sister, your brother, whoever it is, you tell them, look, this is how much I'm paying for my policy, we can get you one at the same price. Okay? Now, Christian, I'm just help you build a list really quick of people we want to go see. So definitely your wife is at the top of your list. What's your wife's name? Roxanne. Okay, so we'll do Roxanne. Christian, do you have what's your best friend's name? Raul. Perfect. What's your other best friend's name? And be genuine about it, right? Because I'm going to teach something. Bruce. Okay. What's your other best friends? Let's say he says he doesn't have one, right? I say, okay, not a problem. You don't have one. Okay. What's your brother's name? Teddy. What's your other brother's name? You don't have any more brothers? And he'll usually tell me, I don't have any more brothers. I say, great, now I'm going to sisters. What's your sister's name? Karen. What's your other sister's name? Okay, perfect. Right? And I'm good with those 5. Right? You say, okay, great, so I'm going to show you the script. Okay, this is called the $1 million script. You guys can take a picture of this if you want, because I think the goal is for all of us to get better. Right? This is our script right here. Okay? This says, hey, how are you? Listen, I need your help. I started working for a financial services company, and I need to observe 6 training presentations this week. I need to sell 3 to 5 policies before I get my state license. Who do you currently have your life insurance outside of work? No life insurance. Okay, no worries. But you and your partner are willing to help me out. My trainer's going to do the Zoom presentation through Zoom. I'll ask you a lot of questions. Can you do Monday or Tuesday? Monday. What time? 6 or 8? 6. This is how we sell life insurance. This is how we sell a lot of life insurance every month, because you're very straight to the point. But this business model only works if you guys have volume of people coming in. If you don't, you're going to be like, oh, whatever. Guys, I'm serious. This is how we do it. Okay? And then we have a posted flyer on their Instagram that says, you know, I'm expanding. Is there any lawyers here, Christian, in this meeting? You don't think so? You don't know. Maybe next time I come here, we'll talk about it. But that's how we do it. We role play the script 3 or 4 times, and I say, okay, Christian, look, a lot of these people are probably at work right now, but you know, a lot of these people are probably at work right now. But if they don't answer you, don't worry, they'll just call you back. Okay, who do you have the best relationship with out of these people? Cool. We'll call Raul really quick, and guess what they'll tell me? Oh, now? Yeah, now. Do it real quick. Cool. Yeah. Real quick. Yeah, if they're at work, just go to voicemail, they'll call you back. Yeah. Go ahead real quick. You want to use my phone or yours? My phone. Yours? Okay, cool. Follow the script. You got it, man. Boom, 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 boom. Right? And they'll do this first one, then they'll see it's not that hard, and they'll do the second one, and they'll do the third one. That's how you do it, okay? So anyways, guys, I get to come up here one more time. I'll share some more things, right? Hopefully that helped you guys. Thank you guys so much. Okay?